This exhibition introduces not only the historical ingenuity, but also continued legacy of Boro within contemporary creation, such as Japanese avant-garde fashion designer, started in the 1970s, who appreciated imperfection. Also, the next generation of textile artists who recycles, repairs without material waste.
The Japanese designers Rei Kawakubo, Issey Miyake, and Yohji Yamamoto are known for collapsing conventions between Eastern and Western modes of dress, and also for challenging conformity in fashion. With singular approaches that play both with and against industry standards, their garments are characterized by unconventional construction methods, exaggerated proportions, asymmetry, unfinished edges, and an emphasis on the importance of raw materials. This selection in particular shares an appreciation for imperfections, patching methodologies, and visionary expressions for past traditions that have been reinterpreted. Collectively, these designers are credited with the creation of a new Japanese aesthetic on the global fashion stage, since they took the world by storm in the 1970s. An ensemble from Rei Kawakubo's Spring-Summer 2010 collection called Adult Delinquent features a deconstructed patchwork of jacquard shoulder pads in a variety of multicolored floral patterns that have been collaged and pieced and sewn together. Executed in wool, Yohji Yamamoto's Fall-Winter 2006-2007 gray suit is emblematic of the designer's focus on pared-down materials and his deconstructive approach. The silhouette of an enlarged four-arm jacket, which recalls the shape of a kimono, contains cutouts evoking a work in progress, much like the historic Boro garments that are seen nearby. In 1993, Issey Miyake introduced his iconic Pleats Please line, which explored the surface manipulation of garments, enveloping the wearer in cascading folds. Aspiring toward ease of movement in fabric and structure, the wrinkled texture of a pair of denim overalls from Miyake's Spring-Summer 2000 collection draws on notions of imperfections of traditional Japanese aesthetics, combining artisan techniques with cutting-edge technology to permanently heat-set the pleats. The amalgamation of fabric remnants from various sources and repurposing that define Boro resonates with New York-based artist Susan Cianciolo's ad hoc practice of assembling found textiles, drawings, and even three-dimensional objects into her tapestries.
Whatever's in the studio or in the home, it's all getting used. And there is this sort of dedication I feel to every single little thing. If it's an old towel that's ripping, then we dye it a few times with natural dyes and then mend it, and then it becomes a part of a textile or a bed cover or an art piece or a dress. So it was taking what I was brought up with, which was a lot of mending. It was just probably from the generations of my grandparents, great-grandparents, ancestors passing down mending, and then so I think warming to my heart to then have the opportunity to travel to Japan so much in my life that I can't even count anymore, and then feel this love of this country that I could like maybe find answers with my work as a creator of textile and clothing in this old traditional way. And it was as if I'd go there and learn and be inspired and feel a connection. And I feel as an artist, when you find a connection, it gives you a place in life.
The 10 ensembles presented here, Susan calls them costumes, are from her collection Run 12, God is a Jacket. And when you look at them up close, you see that they are garments which have been deconstructed and reconstructed. And they also reveal taped, hand-stitched outfits. Some still have the price tags attached. So everything for Susan is up for grabs to be incorporated into her artworks. She always says that nothing is sacred. Like much of Cianciolo's broader practice, these works are intuitively yet meticulously composed, and they value a sense of serendipity, even as they are made with attentive care. Just as Boro items have been used, worn, and mended extensively, Los Angeles-based artist Christina Kim creates laboriously sewn works that last far beyond their normal expected life cycle. Kim explores techniques and methods using natural materials from India, Japan, Mexico, and other regions. Her ongoing project, Kaya Mosquito Net, particularly emphasizes the realm of human interactions and social context, which is as central to her practice as letting no textile go to waste.
When I was about 4 or 5 years old, we have extreme summer in Korea, and we also have a lot of insect problems. So we've always had mosquito nets in summertime, dyed with indigo, because I think indigo was considered insect repelling. One year my grandmother just decided not to have it inside the room, but to actually build a platform and put it outside. So every summer then on, our mosquito net would be outside in our garden. And we would all go inside. That would be my mother, my grandmother, my uncles, my sisters. We would all go inside and really spend after the dinner for an hour or two, spending this incredibly beautiful, magical moments inside the mosquito net, looking at the skies. And that's where we heard all the stories. Our childhood stories were told inside the mosquito net. In 2001, I was in Kyoto, and I was with my great mentor, Yoshiko Wada-san. And she has always showed me beautiful, beautiful, both new and old textiles in Japan. Out of the corner, I saw this beautiful package of mosquito net. And I said to Yoshiko, this is exactly the one I had when I was growing up, because I remember the label. And so I bought it, and I brought it back to Los Angeles. And so I used this mosquito net for about 9 years, and the indigo's gone, and it's kind of beige. And it started to really, literally fall apart because mosquitoes will attack the net. And so it started to really fall apart. And I couldn't throw it out. And I started to do very simple mending. And about 2 years ago, I was invited by RISD, Rhode Island School of Design, and they wanted me to start teaching in winter sessions. And this year, I decided to maybe perhaps do a collaborative handwork project with the students. So I brought this mosquito net to Providence, and that's where I started to mend the mosquito net.
Christina herself spent over 500 hours patching and mending the mosquito net, and in total, with the rest of her collaborators, they spent over 2,000 hours working on this project. Christina Kim and her assistants worked to sandwich layers and patchworks of textiles onto the mosquito net in order to try to preserve as much of the original textile as possible. Looking more closely at the mosquito net, you'll see an astrological theme applied in the form of the names of stars and planets. And what this is Kim's astrological map of when she was born. On the top of the mosquito net, which is not visible to visitors, is actually her lunar birth date. So she's incorporating both of these aspects of her personal experience and heritage into her project. Looking at these historic textiles as a backdrop to the contemporary pieces, you can really see the visible wear and carefully mended patches that make reference to how Boro textiles were subject to such exhaustive repairs and hopefully make connections to the contemporary practices on view. While traditional Boro were intended to meet practical needs and were never meant to be put on display, The transformation of a material celebrates the aesthetic qualities of their craftsmanship. These textiles represent a visual record of the socio-cultural history of a common people in Japan, and they reveal a dialogue with contemporary practices that shares similar aesthetic and philosophical approaches. Boro embodies an appreciation for irregularities, for simplicity, and for the avoidance of waste, all values that have never been more timely or relevant today. Placing historic Boro textiles in conversation with contemporary artistic practices, this exhibition connects both the past and the present, the domestic and the global, and offers examples of traditional objects being reinterpreted anew. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our audio guide for Boro Textiles Sustainable Aesthetics. For more information about the exhibition, please visit japansociety.org or our other social media channels.